Tired of the same old at business events? Well, this is not the same as last year. The podcast where we blow up the boring and lead the charge into the attendee-first era of business events. I'm Clare Forestier, a business event MC obsessed with transforming audiences from passive observers into dynamic participants at events. Each week we'll challenge the conventions, share actionable tips, and hear from fellow event rebels who are mastering the engagement game. Imagine your attendees begging for more after your next event. That's the magic of prioritising their experience. Ready to ditch the dull and create corporate events your audiences will rave about? Then you've found your tribe. Join the movement. Welcome to Not the Same as Last Year. Hello and welcome back to Not the Same as Last Year. So I promised last week that this episode would be all about artificial intelligence in events and how it will help improve attendee experience. But to be honest, I don't think we're quite there yet. I have been emceeing a few events this year, obviously, and in fact, in every single one, regardless of the industry, there has been at least one session on AI. And yet, when I talk to the people running the events, the event organizers themselves, most of them are barely using it. Whether it is because they think they don't have time to learn about it, or they are afraid of it, or there isn't even a policy to implement AI within their organizational structure, whatever, it's not being used. So today, I think we need to start a little bit earlier. We need to talk about how AI can help us, event professionals, to save time and improve our processes. So my goal for this episode is to make you excited about AI and how it can help you do a better and more efficient job, which will then give you the time back to enable you to be more creative and make your events better for your attendees. Now, I'm excited by AI and its potential, but I am still only dabbling myself and I've still got a lot to learn and try. So I've asked someone far more knowledgeable on the impact of AI and events to join me. Anca Platon Trifan is the founder of the event production company Trifan Events. She has her own amazing podcast, Demystifying Events. And if that's not enough, she's also an award-winning bodybuilder and weight training coach. She's really committed to merging event production with wellness and technology to really enhance the event experience, and indeed to sharing her knowledge with others. So we're very lucky to be able to speak to her today. And I started by asking her why she has found AI so easy to get into.
When I first started in event productions 20-something years ago, it's because I was very much embedded into technology. And it starts from as early as like fifth grade, I kid you not, when I first went into a computer science class in middle school. And we were the first generation on the internet. And we had the internet to ourselves. There was no boundaries. There's no rules. I mean, we're kind of like free and wild. And some of it was good, some of it not so good, right? But I was always diving into whatever the newest thing was, the newest technology. And that has kind of been the journey, the story of my life. So when, AI kind of became on the next thing, came on the scenes. 2022 is when we know of ChatGPT coming out and everybody was like, oh my gosh, what is this thing, right? But actually AI algorithms have been used by businesses. Like think of Amazon. If you think of your patterns, what you shop, what you listen to, what you watch, all of that is dictated by AI algorithms in the background, right? So it's not a new concept. However, for a lot of us on the front end, it was kind of new when ChatGPT came out and we started interacting with this large language model that could give us answers like you would be talking to a human, right? So it wasn't anything different for me than just following the technology and seeing where it leads. And when I saw that this is a big deal in the way we interact, the way it's going to change our processes, and the way it's going to change the way we work, create workflows, and the way we plan events, the way we market them, I was all in. I'm like, I'm going straight in because this is going to definitely, to use the ChatGPT most used word, revolutionize our future, right? So that was a no-brainer for me to just dive straight in. And it's funny because I find myself, me and a lot of others, that we use words that ChatGPT uses a lot, but now we use it in our everyday conversations. And I laugh at myself because there's words that I've never used before, right? Like revolutionize, dwell, moreover, furthermore, dive, all those things that now we speak like an LLM.
I know. And I'm having to catch myself because obviously I use it a lot to help me phrase something or start me off sometimes when I'm getting a bit
Right.
of a creative mind block. And then I want to turn it into my own thing. And I think I've done that. And then I'm reading a script and I'm like, oh no, there's a lot of diving and delving going on there. I don't think I know. I
Exactly.
mean, I kind of cringe. I think, gosh, there's some episodes I've probably recorded already where I've put a bit of diving and delving in. So we do have to be careful. I think though I'm using it and I think, oh, look at everyone's using it, and they're still not. People still are frightened of it. And I am not someone who is like you doing it in computer science at school. I was one who went, oh gosh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll learn at some stage. And I've picked it up this year. And I think particularly maybe those of us who run our own businesses, we're using it because it's such a shortcut. It's such a shortcut, and it saves so much time and so much money when you should be doing something else and you're wasting time trying to phrase something, and the language model will help you. But within event planning in a company, and budgets are tight, think that being asked to do so much more with so much less, this is going to make their lives just nicer, isn't it?
So
It's
much
better.
easier. Absolutely. I'm using ChatGPT, and I feel like for the most of us, it's quite a common tool to use nowadays. If it's not, maybe you should get on it because you don't want to be miles behind, because even ChatGPT, as they're constantly updating and upgrading their product, they're going to get into AI agents and other infrastructures and other workflows that if you don't start from point A to kind of get an idea of how this all works, you might get so many light years behind that it's going to be so intimidated to want to try. So that being said, where I see AI, especially beyond ChatGPT, really help event planning, event management, event sourcing, is the use of AI agents. And what does that mean? It's not just one tool like ChatGPT that can repurpose your content or spit out different versions of the same pitch that you're going to send to multiple stakeholders for, say, a talk or maybe an event that you want to get sponsorship for, or maybe an audience engagement piece that you're trying to make it more interactive. And you're like, ooh, act as somebody like an entertainer, or act like a comedian, or act like Clare Forestier that knows how to MC events, like something like that, right? It's going to be more where you have one task and then you give it the instructions of what this one task is. And let's say it's planning an event, but it's more than just planning an event. There's multiple steps and checklists that you have to go through as you're planning this one event, right? So we're talking from pre-event engagement to sponsorships to agenda building to maybe having some kind of interaction, or maybe some keynote speakers that will really grab the attention, MCs, all the way post-event to gathering surveys. And we're not even talking about sourcing the right space, the right venue, the right vendors, the right event partners, all of that. So you have this list of things that you know you have to accomplish. And you're like, okay, I'm one person. I got to do it all. I probably need 9 months, 16 months to get this all done. Nowadays, if you're going to get this AI agents to work on your behalf because you know how to use it and you know how to implement into your processes and your workflows, you're going to give it the task. This is my event. This is what we're trying to accomplish. This is the vision. This is the why, all the things that normally you would as you're planning an event. And then you're going to see your AI agents literally do the work for you, all the way from sourcing venues, sending RFPs out, getting your room blocks, negotiating prices, getting the right partners to be part of the event, getting the right sponsors to be part of the event, all the way till the end where you're going to capture surveys and then repurpose the content that you captured during the event. So you have that engagement throughout the year, right? So this is like the job of all of those AI agents that work for you. Now, if you're someone that has low resources or maybe doesn't have access to a multi-million dollar budget and a large team that can do a lot of those things for you, why would you say no to a tool that can get you so far ahead? And it's not hard. Like, that's why my purpose has been to provide a lot of education and valuable content to the event industry through my courses, through the free live streams that I do, to the podcast. There's a lot of information. You just want to be willing to take advantage of it.
I think it's that what puts people off, isn't it? It's the where to start that you said there. I meet a lot of people who are solopreneurs, and they'll say, yeah, I'm going to do that next month. I've just got a lot to do this month, and then I'm going to do that. And you're like, it's like, this will help you do what you need to do this month. You just got to be brave enough, I think, maybe to take yourself out of the business for a few days and just put your heads down and almost like you did when you were studying at uni or school, and just go, have to learn this AI. It's not hard. My goodness, Claire can do it. Anyone can do it.
You should make a purpose intent to say, today I'm going to learn something new. And if I have 20 minutes to assign for that learning, then do it. Or, your time spent on the couch watching Netflix, how about you assign that time to something that will propel your career further and your skill set further? If you are in a job or career or something where AI can easily replace you, it's time to up-level your skills. And I'm serious. And it's not some kind of a warning. It's more like, this is where the future is going. So you don't want to be left behind. You don't want to be the last person to find out, oh my goodness, my position just got removed, replaced. And that's happened a lot, especially with a lot of the tech giants, because I was too complacent to learn what I needed to learn when it was the right time to learn it. Like, to the analogy with driving the car versus flying an airplane,
But there is a fear, and I think that's an instinctive thing. I call this podcast Not the Same as Last Year, because it's so easy in a way to not get out of your comfort zone, to get your Google Docs out that you've always used and your little spreadsheets and just go through, well, this is how we've always done it. Why am I going to do it differently? And that's with every aspect of planning. So, AI, I also want to talk about that idea that everything we want to do is to put the attendee first. And ultimately, if you're going to put the attendee first, you're going to do the best that you can. You're going to do the most modern, the most exciting, the things that they're doing. There's no point just saying, oh, we've got a session on AI in our event, which happens. And then you've not used AI.
You know how many times, Claire, it's happened where, like, oh, we have a poll. Oh, we've covered the interaction, the engagement part of the stock.
I know. It's we've got it. We've made our sessions 30 minutes. We've got it. And you're like, and then you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, aren't you? Because actually, your session doesn't need to be 30 minutes long if it's really interactive, really interesting session.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be. But it's, And this is it. I think we are battling that.
I understand the going out of your comfort zone. I understand the fear, but let's just go back all the way where, like, when the calculators came out. Like calculators that we don't even use anymore because they're on our phones, right? But when it first came out, there was this whole fear basically in the education space that educators and teachers and professors are going to be replaced by this one calculator that now could do the job of teaching people how to do equations and aggressive math, right? Did that happen? No, it became a tool where we were way faster at making those calculations that otherwise would have taken, it's not just 1 + 1 = 2, right? So going with that analogy to our present, to how AI is really enhancing a lot of the processes, a lot of the workflows that we do, that's just a tool. Now, it still requires, at least in our time and space right now, a human to dictate which direction, what output, what kind of outcome are you looking for, right? We're not yet in the AGI space. We're going to get there. But if we get there and you haven't even tried the narrow AI opportunities that we're experiencing right now, when we have this super intelligent whatever taking over a lot of those processes, you're not going to be able to keep up to understand how this works and where are you going to fit yourself into that whole picture. So my, I guess, encouragement is start small, wherever you are. If this is your first time hearing ChatGPT, be curious to find out what it is, what it could do for you. There is a lot of free education on prompting. Actually, I have on my own profile on LinkedIn several videos that I have put as LinkedIn Live educational videos where you can learn how to prompt ChatGPT properly so you can get the output that you want. Because then there's also this thing where, well, I go and I try it and, oh, this is so terrible, because you don't know how to prompt it. Because you don't know what you're looking for as an output. So you're going to get kind of like trash in, trash out. That's the reality, right? So training yourself to learn a little bit one step at a time, because it takes a bit of intentionality to want to move with the technology, to move with the future. But in my opinion, it's better to do it now as we're, advancing at this pace versus 1 year later, a few months later. I mean, things are changing really, really fast.
I wanted to ask you, because you gave a really good description at the beginning of the possibility for an event planner. You're looking at the huge, great big event that could happen and how you could make it happen. On a simplest level, if you think, what could I do tomorrow that will immediately make my life quicker as an event planner?
I think the simplest way to get into all of this is really to give it a try. Right now, any browser on your computer that you're going to install has some form of AI enabler, right? So if this is Microsoft, they will have Bing. If this is Google, they will have Gemini. So you have it at your fingerprints. You don't even have to have, per se, ChatGPT Premium to go and use it, right? Even though ChatGPT has been kind of the first one to come out in a very intentional manner to change the way we interact with LLMs. I would start there. I would go and input, like, let's take an example, Claire. Say for this podcast, you were, hey, I want to have this conversation with Anca. I'm curious. I'm kind of like, I want to know what I'm going to ask her, but I would actually like to, generate a few extra questions on this particular topic that we're going to uncover today. And I need some help. So you literally would go to ChatGPT or whatever form of AI that you have embedded into your browser if you don't have ChatGPT as a subscription, whatever. And you would ask, okay, act as a podcast host. This is my guest. This is what we're going to talk about. Generate a couple of extra more questions or some icebreakers, right, for this conversation we're going to have, or some interesting trivia facts about the event industry that we're going to sprinkle throughout the conversation just to make it more engaging, interactive, or whatever, right? Sure, you might have access in your head to all of that information, but let me tell you, I bet that you have a limited supply of that. So then you're using your AI assistant to give you more input. Let's say you're planning an event and you're like, I'm running out of idea because we used to do the same theme every year and people are kind of tired of this Western theme and they're kind of tired of this cowboy theme and kind of tired of this, like doing the same thing again and again, right? I want to do something different. Now you have some information related to your event. You want to, again, prompt your LLM, your AI helpful agent in some way so you can start with a common knowledge of what you're trying to accomplish. Because you could go with 0-point prompting, which just means, hey, give me some ideas for some events that I could plan. And you're going to get a very wide range that some of it might be applicable. Some of it might be like, yeah, there's no way. We're not going to doing a Barbie theme event or whatever, right? So if you have some information based on the history of the events that you've done, you have some analytics, some data that you can pull off, now you actually can really be tactical and strategic in your searches, in your prompting, so you can get an output, an outcome that is relevant to what you're searching, right? And I promise you, I mean, I'm sure both me and you have done this many times over, just in the way we want to just bring something different to our events, to our speaking engagement, to our podcast conversations. And there's so much opportunity out there beyond your own capacity. Being in the AV production business, I get clients all the time coming with literally 2 pieces of information when they're asking about, can you generate a proposal for me or a quote? How much would it cost to do this event? And then that's it. So I don't have a date. I don't have any information about what kind of AV are we looking for. I don't have any information about your location, audience size, agenda, none of it, right? And then we just go back and forth, like to find all of this. Now, I was like, you know what? I normally have a list of questions that it's kind of like a screening form that when I have a conversation with a client, I would ask them all of those questions. So then when I send them that proposal, like initial estimate, it hits on their specific needs, right? So I was like, okay, here's the questions that I normally ask. Now, dear ChatGPT, helpful assistant, can you put this in a format that is easy to read, simplify it basically, make it concise and straightforward? And I got a form generated that it turned into a LinkedIn article. But again, who came with all of the knowledge behind it, right? That's what I think a lot of people get sort of like turned off by, oh, I don't want to use ChatGPT because it's cheating. Is it really? Because as far as I'm concerned, every piece of article, every piece of blog post, it has come from my knowledge. And let me tell you, as a English as a second language speaker, because I grew up in Romania, that's my native language. To me, this has been like the blessing of them all blessings, because sometimes even after 20 something years in US and 30 years of speaking English, I don't always get the, specifics of the English grammar. This is helpful to me. Like now I can sound like a savant, even though I'm like, I can barely speak English.
Well, don't worry. As you get older anyway, you forget all the languages. Sometimes I don't get information exactly like you as a supplier. I get a request for your fees for some event with no detail around it. And then you're trying to get them into a call. And a lot of people don't want to do calls because they're busy. A lot of people want to just do it on an email, and you're wasting so much time. So absolutely that form you suggest, and I'm going to steal that idea. It's just helps you. And I think also with me, one of the biggest things, I don't get a lot of information in time. You've got another event on another subject and you're still trying to get the bios from the speakers to put together your engines, and you get this bio that's terrible, that's been written ages ago.
I have a helpful tool for that. This AI agent that I was using and deploying into event planning that, again, I'm teaching on during my course, literally would go to the LinkedIn profile of this one speaker that you're trying to beg them to send you their bio, and it will pull all the relevant information from their profile and rewrite it in a paragraph. Bardeen is one of the tools that I use for that. So a simple example there is, say that you have a really cool post on something, there's a lot of engagement, and now you'd be interested to know who those people are and maybe interact with them on a more personal way, because they could be leads for you, right? So this automation that you can build in Bardeen would literally go to that one post and then take all of those people and all of their comments and their LinkedIn profile, their information, including email and everything they have posted publicly on the LinkedIn profile, and extract it into a spreadsheet. So next time you take that spreadsheet, and now the next step could be part of the same automation to draft a personalized email to each one of those, then have it sit in your draft in your email box so that you can review it. Again, you should always review what an LLM does and then send it out.
That's amazing.
But it's done automatically. Tools are available. Knowledge is available. But you have to want to learn either how to use it, how to implement it, or if it's even for you.
Yeah. I mean, that what you're saying there, I think, oh, I'm so clever. I do this. I save my LinkedIn posts and I go through them and I make a story. But, that's the next level, and that's the next level. And that's using the automation, which I'm thinking, I don't know how to do that. But because I've done a little bit of AI, I'm thinking, okay, that's something that I could learn to do.
If I can do something more effectively, more productively, it is a win for me, because aside from my professional endeavors, I also have personal goals that take time, right? Like when I'm in the gym working out for an hour and a half every single day, 6 days a week, because I have a goal to compete in this next bodybuilding show, I need to find time for that. I don't have more than 24 hours like everyone else. And I really, really like my sleep to be recharging and recovering and good. So I don't cut any steps and any corners when it comes to my sleep. So if I can gain, extra hours in my day from sleep, then I have to gain them somewhere else. So then if I can improve my processes and become more productive and more effective, and now I have an hour and a half, 2 hours at my disposal every single day, so I can go into the gym and do the things that I want to do personally, then I don't know what to tell you. But to me, that's such a hard sell. You can't convince me not to do it, because I'm like, it's in my advantage,
Yeah, it's the personal impact that AI is having as well. Well, you're a total proponent for using it. I love that. And I think people will have got something out of this, even if they thought they knew how to use AI. And maybe at the beginning when we were talking and we were saying, get in now when it's early, I think you proved there's just so much that we are literally nibbling at the possibilities at the moment.
Absolutely. And I have a lot of resources that are free on my LinkedIn profile, my YouTube pages. And then if you want to take a little step, forward and put a little bit of investment behind it, then I have courses that really tackle different aspects of the event planning, of the business running of events as well, because I'm a business owner as well. So for me, as much as it's important to know how to use AI in events, it's also very much important to know how to use AI in my everyday business operations and processes, right? So there's multiple things that you can do now. I would start with small steps. Pick one tool that you feel like you're going to be most likely to use it, and then learn more about it. Like learn how to prompt it correctly, learn how to use it in your everyday workflow, right? To figure out if that's something that you can take it that on a larger scale. Because again, when you're planning an event, you also have a lot of stakeholders that you're going to talk to. You want to be able to give them a good rapport. But if you use it in small ways, and then you're confident enough to use it in larger ways, it's just going to happen automatically. You no longer have to fear that it's going to, mess up your event somehow, somewhere.
Yeah, because you're always going in and checking it as well as you're going through it, just as you would be with maybe a junior member of your team. You would be double checking before you agreed
Exactly.
it. I'm going to try all these different things. It's really exciting. Thank you so much, because there's so much there for people who are just getting their toe in the water and how they can make their event better for them, which is ultimately going to mean they've got all the time to make it better for the attendee, which is what it's all about.
Which it makes it all better for us, both on the supplier, partner side, or the attendee side.
Yeah. So that was great, wasn't it? So much from Anca there to get us started on our AI journey in events. And I will make sure that we share all the information that she has given us and all about how to get hold of her and how to get onto her courses on the show notes. I'd love to hear how you're getting on with your AI journey, how it's helping you in events. So do drop me a line either on social media or via my website and tell me how you're using it. And also join us next week where we're going to be talking about the panel. Is it time to retire the event panel? I look forward to seeing you then. And there you have it. I hope you're inspired to revolutionize the attendee experience at your next event. Ready to dive deeper? Download your free guide, 5 Ways to Elevate Your Attendee Experience Without Breaking the Bank. The link is in the show notes. Subscribe to Not the Same as Last Year podcast, connect with me, Clare Forestier, on LinkedIn, or visit my YouTube channel for even more tips and insights to make your events a hit with your attendees. Don't forget to leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. Your feedback is going to fuel my mission. Stay tuned next week for another episode packed with inspiring ideas and practical strategies to put your attendee first.